Welcome to Crafts. Today, we're going to create some gorgeous fall decor using only Dollar Tree bamboo cutting boards. Without further ado, let's go! For DIY number 1, we're going to start out with 2 of the cutting boards, and then we're also going to need 2 of these long boards. They come from Dollar Tree, of course, and they are like MDF boards. They're really thick, and you need to observe also the types that we're gonna. The knee from the MDF board did not have to be perfect by any means, and I came up with 5.5 inches long, so with each of these MDF boards, you're gonna get 3 of the pieces that are 5.5 inches long, and then you're gonna have 1 little tiny piece left over that ended up being about 2 inches long, and of course, we can just use that on a craft later on. So when you cut up both of your MDF boards, you're going to end up with 6 of these pieces that are 5.5 inches long. Now once I got those cuts, I took those and my 2 bamboo cutting boards outside, and I painted everything with my Raphaelia matte white. You'll notice that I didn't paint all the side of my MDF board, only the sides that would be showing. I just did that to save sway painting, because with the way things are so expensive right now, we got to pinch pennies anywhere we can. So you'll see the areas that you do need to spray paint. So we're just going to put this together, and I'm going to use a glue gun to put mine together for video purposes, but if you really want this to hold you, need to use a good strong wood glue. I like the one that's at the Dollar Tree, and a longtime favorite of mine is the Clicked and Thick. It's really good too. On trying out this new glue gun I got, and it says it heats up in 15 seconds. It has the little light on the end, so we'll just see if it's all it's cracked up to be. So when my glue gun dive heated up, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to put 1 piece down on the bottom, then I'm making sure that the pieces that are going to be seen by the eye are the pieces that I had spring painted. Like I said, I'm just trying to pinch pennies anywhere I can. If that bothers you because it's unfinished, just go ahead and do yours all over, but I just decided to go ahead and try to save some money. I stood it up whenever I put the other bamboo cutting boards together just to make sure that it was even, and I had a good closure there. IOD has just released a new collection, and I love this one. It's got fallen leaves and acorns. It's called Oak Leaves and Acorns. That's the name of it, and if you want any of these molds or any of the IOD products, DIY products, and Pentalk products that you've seen me using in my videos, of course I get those from Miss Lori over at Milton's Garter. Her prices are phenomenal, and she is the greatest in customer service. I promise you, you wouldn't go anywhere else if you shopped with Miss Lori. I love that on there. Method shows you exactly how much resin to mix up for each gift. Malt and I just use the amazing casting resin. It takes 10 minutes for it to be ready to use, and that's why I love this one. It's a little bit more expensive. I got it off of Amazon, and it's in my Amazon store if you want some. It is a little bit more expensive, but to me, it's worth it because time is money. I don't want to sit and wait a whole day for my resin to cure. That's how much it takes for most of it to cure. You just mix it up in equal parts and put it in your little molds, and in 10 minutes, voila, you got beautiful acorns and leaves ready to go. So I just popped these off. I'm gonna put some on there. Fleck, but I wasn't sure yet what I wanted to do. I wanted to take just a notes and say thank you for stopping into my channel. Whether you're a subscriber that's here all the time, or if you're new, I am so glad that you stopped in to chat and craft and had a good old time with me today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love for you to become a part of our family and hit that little red button and subscribe. Also, I would love for you to leave me a comment, especially if you're new. Introduce yourself and let me know what brought you here. If you're not much for leaving comments, just leave Give me a heart emoji, because if you leave me a comment and you hit the like button, and of course subscribing, all those things helped out my channel tremendously on YouTube, and I set myself a goal to be at 50,000 by Halloween, and I would love for you to help me get there. Now here, I'm just taking a piece of tape, and I'm blocking off some of the bottom portion of this where I'm going to use the DIY paint color called Little Black Dress. I very quickly just gave it one cone on that little fun portion, and I made sure to get the side pieces just on the top there. That's pretty much the only part that anybody's gonna see. When I got this part dry, I just took off my painting, and I'm not a perfect painter by any means, but it's okay, this part does not have to be perfect. We're gonna use several have beautiful leaves and acorns molded that I just made up, but first I've got to paint these things and figure out exactly how I want to put them down. I'm gonna use my BLI paint in the color called Layered Chocolate. I thought that it would be a perfect dark brown color on these leaves, and with the molded beings. White the way it is, it kind of lightens out that brown just a little bit, but that's okay. You'll see what we're gonna do with these in just a moment, and you won't believe how beautiful these molds turned out. Molds is just something that's really easy to add to any project and make them beautiful, and I'd enjoy doing the mold so much. I'm just gonna paint most of these parts brown because we've got acorns here that are brown anyways, and then the leaves, but I did want to mid-teal of my leaves with a little bit of an orangey falling flare, so I'm gonna use this color called Pumpkin Spice. It's a Dixie Doll color that I got at Fido years ago. They had it out for Jeff especially for falling, and so it was just like a little temporary color, and you see it's a really muted orange color. I like that, and like I said, I had this jar full of years, and I really need to just you would have so dough over my acorns with that, because there was kind of a perfect color for the acorns, and I'm just gonna add it on a few of the leaves too, because I love that it's just a kneaded orange, and it's not like a really right in your face kind of orange color. Usually when I put my molds on anything, I like to use Click and Dick Glue. It is a wig glue that all of us creators use for our molds because it's a good hold, but for video purposes, I just grab my glue gun and put it on with that. I mean, it works, but it's just not as strong of a hold as the Crick and Big is. I put these down exactly where I wanted them and gave them just a few seconds to dry, and just wait till you see the next step. I grabbed my Pebbark wax paste. I got this from Nilton's daughter also, and I'll leave all of her information down below, so she's really easy to find. I'll leave it in the comments too. Guys, look how this makes these leaves come alive. It actually makes any mold come alive because it wraps onto the high points, and it just, I mean, this video cannot do it justice of how much of a beautiful light color it created up against that brown of bad one larger leaf. I was just shocked at how beautiful this turned out. It's so pretty, and it just brought the whole piece to life in my eyes. But when I stepped back and looked at it, I felt like it was still missing something. Now I got this rice paper from Lori over at Nilton's Daughter last season, and I just never did use it. But look how perfect this little picture of the horses is. It's such a beautiful falling feed with those sunflowers, and it says antiques on. It's so I was like, we got to put this on here. So I just went around with a little bit of water on the end of a paintbrush just to kind of weaken that paper enough though that I can tear it. When I'm decouperaging anything, I always tear it because I think that it gives it a more organic look, and in my opinion it just looks so much better than when it have like a straight edge, or if you cut it, it just makes such a difference. So that's what I was talking about earlier when I said I wish I would have done this in reverse, because I wish that I would have put that whole picture down first and then applied the leaves, but it Didn't happen that way, and sometimes our projects do that. They take a turn as we move on through the project, but it's okay. All I'm doing is going around and tearing all the last little bits of white off of this, and I'm simply just going to use a regular old Elmer's glue stick. Now, if I want a permanent hold, I do have permanent glue sticks, and they are in my Amazon store also. They're the Elmer's brand, and this one is of course not permanent, but if I ever want to change this up like for a different season, I can. I literally just placed a little bit of my glue sticking on the top. I think this is the easiest way to decouple anything. You don't have wrinkles or bubbles. There's no wet goopy mess, and it works just the same as Mod Podge honey, so why not use it? I just go around with my little finger sander and get off any of the excess, and I love the way that this. So I've got a whole bunch of flowers here that I got from Dollar Tree. I think one of these little bouquets came from Ollie's, which is like a discount stores, and I'm just gonna leave them on the stems. That was my idea, was to stick flowers in this, and you can either set it on the wall or you can just set it up kind of like it's a flower vase. Either way it turns out too. Our beautiful decor, so I just stack my flowers in no particular order. I wasn't trying to make any like perfectly gorgeous bouquets. I just wanted to put some sunflowers in there to match with the front and like some muted falling tones. I'm gonna use mine on the wall, so I'm using one of my favorite little saws tooth hangers that I got off of Amazon, and I hope that you like this one. I wanted to show you what it would look like if you had two of them in a grouping. These are so beautiful, and I absolutely love them. For DIY number 2, it's really quick and simple. We're gonna need 2 of the cutting boards, and then I got a dowel from Walmart that was 4 feet long. I'm not sure the circumference of this, but I cut it into 4 equal pieces, and each one of them is a foot long. I'm going to take my Type Bond quick and thick, and I was having trouble kind of getting this out because I'm almost at the bottom of the barrel here, and I'm going to just put a little bit on the bottom, and I'm gonna go across all 4 sides, and you do have to hold them there for just maybe 2 minutes, 1 minute, something like that, just long enough for it to get a hold where you can just very carefully work around it and move to the next one. I left mine alone for just a few minutes so that it could harden up. Approximately maybe 15 minutes before I went to the next step, and when it was ready, all I'm gonna do is take some more of that Type Bond quick and thick, put a little bit on each of the tops of my dowels, and then I'm gonna take that other cutting board and laid it directly down on top of it, and then I just left it alone overnight so that it would get a good strong hold. So here we are the next day, and I'm gonna use this home decor brand wood tint. I like it when I want a darker color. Now I love the Waverly Antique Wax. I love the way that it looks. Mine is really watered down, but like I said, when I want more of a dark walnut color, this is what I went for, and all I'm gonna do is just put a little bit on with my paintbrush and then finish applying it. When that baby wipe hits this wood tint or the antique wax, it just makes the most beautiful color, and that wetness helps to kind of spread it around and get a really good evening coat. So I went around and made sure that I had this whole thing covered. I'm gonna grab a few pieces of the molds that I made. I'm just gonna grab 2 of the small acorns and then one of the small leaves, and I painted them really quickly with that color called layered. Chocolate, and I wanted to take my stamper. I used the archival ink and it's the black color here. I'm just gonna go round kind of at a slant and just make. I don't know, it almost just kind of highlights all the way around my piece. And to finish this off, I'm going to grab that beautiful wax paste in the bronze color that I told you guys just brought that leaf to life, and I'm gonna run it across the leaf and the acorns and bring them to life too. I'm just gonna warn you. Right now, you're gonna see me using a lot of this in the fall. And for my Halloween also. I love this wax paste stuff, and it's very inexpensive. So I'm just gonna place these down exactly how I have them here, and once again, I'm just going to use my glue guns so that I can place them on very quickly. And that's all there was to this one. I hope you like it. Now let's get into the next die. This one likes the other ones is really easy. You're gonna need 2 of the cutting boards, and then I grabbed this large sign that I got just about a week or 2 ago. It's 2 feet long and it has a fall motif on it, and I want to point out that it doesn't. No matter what sign you use, but just make sure that your sign is not wider than your bamboo cutting board. This one is about the exact same width. We're gonna cut this right in half, but I had to pop his little hat off first. I drew a line across the middle where I needed to cut it at, and I'm just going to use a box cutters to go across it, and it literally just took me about 2 passes with that box cutter, and then I could just snap this piece right in half, and it's okay. If your pieces come out a little bit rough on the edges, just grab a little bit of sandpaper or a finger sander and give it a quick little sand, and it'll even right out. I grabbed my DIY paint in the color called crinoline. It is a gorgeous kind of creamy off-white color, and I'm gonna paint the fronts and the backs of the cutting boards, and I'm gonna paint the front portion of my sign. I decided to use some more of this beautiful decoupage paper that Lori from Melton's Daughter sent me last fall. I do have to use one that is vertical, and so I had to pick from, and it was a hard decision because these are really pretty for falling, but luckily she sent me 2, so I had one for each of my cuttings boards. I went ahead and just did a rough cut with the scissors, but I'm going to wet the end of a paintbrush and go around so that I don't have the straight edges. You guys that watch my channel know that I do not like straight edges. When I'm decoupaging, I like it to be torn because it just gives it a more organic look, and I went ahead and did that to both of my pieces. Now that I have both pieces ready for decoupage, I'm just gonna use my Elmer's glue stick. Right, I always do, or that I most of the time do for my decoupage. It is just the easiest way to decoupage in my opinion. I'm just gonna work in sections here. I get the top section, and I just put my glue sticks all over the top, and then laid the pieces down, and I did the same on the bottom. Then I just kind of used my fingers to smooth it out to make sure there's no bubbles or wrinkles, but this is one way where you get no bubbles or wrinkles, and I'm gonna do that to both of these. This is gonna be a shelf. Now the easiest way that I found to assemble this is I bought this like a variety of packs of wooden dowels from Walmart, and it had a couple of these smaller size little square dowels. I'm going to place one on the bottom approximately about an inch from the very bottom of my cutting board, and then I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the top about an inch away from the top, and I'm going to do these to both of my cutting boards the same. I measured them out just to make sure that they are even all the way across, and their bear's about an inch away all the way down on both of them. The rest of the assembly is easy as a piece of cake. I'm just using my glue gun, like the rest of this video, just for video purposes. because it's much quicker and you're basically just going to glue that bottom. Shelf on, and the little towel that we just put on is creating like a little lip, and it's going to give it something to rest on and make it more secure. So what we're gonna do is just put glue down, and that's what's going to be. Holding our little shelf, and the shelf is going to be fitting on that wooden dowel. Super easy. Once we get that put across the bottom, we're gonna do that. It's that same thing on the top using the glue to secure it. Make sure if you want a good strong hold that you're gonna be using a wood glue. I got another stamp. That came from the brand new IOD collection. This one's called Ephemeral type, and as you see, it just kind of looks like old letters. So like typewriters, film looks like it's handwritten. This is my single most favorite piece of the new IOD collection. I love this stamp. I'm gonna be wearing. So what I'm gonna do? Well, the first thing you do before you ever use any of their stamps is you need to sieve it, and that just means that you're gonna went over it with a 220 grit sandpaper. It's nothing big, you just kind of go it over it one direction, and then I went over it the opposite direction. And you only have to do that the very first time that you before you use it, and then you never have to do that again. I'm just going to use the little piece that came. Like the protector piece to place my stamp on, I actually do have a thin mount. They call it which you put your stamps on, but this is here and it's easy to use, so I'm just gonna use that, and I'm just gonna put it down exactly how I want it to go on here. Pick out the portions that I want. I'm gonna grab my black archival ink, and it is a permanent ink. I really need to stock up on my inks because this thing is running well, and I do want it to have a very muted look. I don't want it to be bright and bold. I want it to kind of look like old writing that's stayed on there forever, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want a couple of little places on the top and on the bottom shelf of this just to bring something different to it. I grabbed another one of those leaves that I had made in my mold when I started this video off, and first I hated it that pumpkin spice color, that very muted orange color, and something just didn't agree with that, so I thought you knew it looks really pretty whenever I did it in brown and put that beautiful bronze wax paste. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll white over it and do then a light coat of that layer chocolate chip faux that it would still have a little bit of that orange peeking through, and once again, I'm just going to use my glue to pop this white gown in the center, and then to finish this piece off, I'm gonna grab my wax paste and just go over it. Now this, I just am so in love with the way that this wax paste thing, once color looks up against that brown. I just wish you guys could actually see it in person and see the beautifulness of it. It's so pretty. I also just kind of wide round this piece, like round the corners and the edges. Anywhere where I wanted a little touch of bronze just to bring it all together. And I think it turned out beautiful. I hope you like this one. Don't blink because if you do, you'll miss the fourth die. All we're gonna need is one of the cutting boards for this. This is gonna be so quick and easy and fast. Now I'm just going to go over this with the beautiful color called Little Black Dress, the color that I used before, and I'm not really done for a full all-over coat. It doesn't have to be perfect. I want it to be looking kind of old. And what I do that I go heavy in the middle, and as I'm going to I kind of fan it out a little bit. I'm gonna use this little wood tack from Dollar Trees called Woodpeg Dolls. These are perfect to use as little fade for rises, and that's what this is gonna be. But first I have to paint them really quickly the same way that I did the top with that beautiful color called Little Black Dress. I just think that's the funniest name. Some of the names that she The white for her are just so cute. I purposely did not paint the areas where I need to put the glue, because when you do that, it just is a little bit tougher. When I'm painting stuff like this, usually I go ahead and assembling the pieces, like putting the feet on, and then I painted the whole thing. But when I started out with this, I honestly wasn't sure what it was going to become. So that's kind of why I went backwards on this one, which brings me to the next step. I'm gonna decoupage another one of these beautiful pieces of decoupage paper onto the front of this, or the top of this. Now here's the thing, when I decoupage 99% of the time, I like to have the paint behind it to be white, because it makes your picture so much brighter and it makes it pop. But since I didn't know that I was gonna decoupage something on the top, it got painted black, but it's okay, it's still gonna look great. It's not gonna be as bright as it were if I had white underneath it, but the black is gonna get it a knife. Dot follows you, so it's totally okay. I'm going around and taking the edges off because you know crafty Kathy does not like straight edges when she's decoupage. I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I do with all the other decoupage. I'm gonna put that ours glue stick down. I didn't use permanent because I don't want this to be permanent. I would want to change it up for the different seasons, and then I just simply laid a decoupage paper down and smooth it out. It's that simple, and the last thing that I do is grab my finger sander and take off any of the little scraggly pieces that are just slightly overhanging, and this one was so super easy. I hope all of these were, and I hope you like this one.